And we are live. Hi, this is Nancy with On Point TV. We are going today work on a block that's an Isosceles Triangle block. I have one to show you, but I'm not going to get you to that yet. I want to talk a little bit about On Point TV and the sound. Some of you have made comments that the sound isn't quite right, that I'm not quite loud enough. You need to trust me. I come from a family of 10 kids. I can get really, really loud if I want to. But I must admit, when I'm working down here, I'm more concerned about what I'm saying, what I'm showing you, what's going to come next. So sometimes maybe I'm not talking as loud as maybe I could. The other thing you need to realize is that when we're working in a studio, so whether or not when we were recording at WKTV in Grand Rapids, the public access station that was fabulous, or if we're even recording in Gina's basement, there we're kind of set up like a studio. So I have a microphone when we're there. We cannot find an even slightly affordable microphone that works on live videos. So our options are we keep recording live, I try to talk loud, and then we can get more videos out to you. Or the next option is we only record when we have time to be in the studio, and all of us have full-time jobs. So finding time to be in the studio can be a little bit problematic. So I hope you don't mind if you have to turn the volume up on your phone. I will really try to talk a little bit louder. Trust me, you don't want to see my outside family voice because that's a whole nother something that makes people cry sometimes. So excuse me about the sound, and I will try to be funny. Athena's laughing because she knows that I've used my outside loud family voice on her before and made her cry. Anyways, she is my niece. So anyways, all right, so now to work. We're going to work on an isosceles triangle. Last week when we ended with the square and a square block, I told you we were going to work on an equilateral triangle. That's because I didn't know what it was called. So let me show you where it is in the book. Let me show you the books, and then we'll get to the difference between an equilateral triangle and an isosceles triangle. So this is the book. This is the Learning to Quilt book designed by my sister, Renee Barth. We worked on it. Say again?
You said Learning to Quilt.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the Tranquil Stars book. Sorry. Thank you, Teresa. So this is the book. It is available on our website, which is onpoint-tv.com. You go to shop, and you'll see the Tranquil Stars book. You can purchase the hard copy book like this, or you can purchase an ebook, and it's $10 less if you do it that way, and then you can look at it on your tablet or whatever. And then there's the pin cushions are always available. Pin cushions come in this pink and black herringbone, the dark purple, and there's a red one. So if you have a color preference, be sure you tell me when you place your order. And then what Teresa was saying, the Learning to Quilt book. Now, for those of you that have seen the book before, you might notice something a little bit different. I got to get more of them printed, and I asked them for a pink comb bound. I just thought it was pretty. It goes with the pink on the front of it, and I thought when you put it in your bookshelf, you'll be able to see that pink or red comb bound or spiral bound on the end, and then you'll know that those are my books. So there you go. The Learning to Quilt book is available on the website also. Again, hard copy, or you can do the ebook and save $10. That's really nice for internationals because the price does include shipping on all of these products if we're within the domestic United States. If I have to go and ship it all the way to Ireland, thank you so much for watching. It's such a pleasure, but it does cost more. So then I'll contact you and say, if you want the hard copy, I can blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Those things are available on the website. Now let's get down to business. This is the block that we're going to make. This is an isosceles triangle right here, called some other things by other people, but I know that it's an isosceles triangle because I have a set of blocks called the Gemini fabric cutting dies, the Build-A-Block, and I'm going to show you those. And in that they call this an isosceles triangle. So there's one of them. Here's another version of it over here. So these I made with my Gemini. Now Gemini is a company, it actually is from the UK. This is my Gemini Junior. It's a die cutting, electric die cutting, so you don't have to do the cranking on this. It is just going to send it through with these special plates. And what I was talking about, where I saw what it was called, They've got 2 Build-A-Block series, and I have done a whole review on this machine and a couple of other machines in some previous episodes. So if you want to go back onto our YouTube channel and find those. So this is the original Build-A-Block. The original Build-A-Block had half square triangles, quarter square triangles, squares, and yeah, that's all. So half square, quarter square, and squares in 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 12 inches. Then Gemini came out with what they call the Build-A-Block Plus. Now what made the Build-A-Block Plus special was that it came with the Isosceles triangles. So it has the center, let me see, the center triangles, the 2 side ones, and then also with some rectangles. So if you ever are wondering how to spell Isosceles, I don't know, so I had to look on the box, and there it is. It's the Isosceles triangle. So what makes an isosceles triangle different than an equilateral triangle? Let me show you. When I was planning to do this, I went first to my stash, and I looked for rulers that I had that might have the angle that I needed. One of the ones that I found was a Kaleido ruler from Marty Michelle. Can you see her hand up there? This one has 8 sections. I don't know what this one is called, but this is not the same size as the isosceles triangle. So let me get this die out. See, the isosceles triangle is bigger. Okay, so this one you would need 8 sections to go in a complete circle. So just like that. Can you see that? All right, so that's Marty Michelle's kaleidoscope ruler. Well, I know that Marty Michelle does a lot of triangles, so I decided to grab another one of hers that I thought was the right one. That would be the equilateral triangle. All right. So what makes an equilateral triangle an equilateral triangle? Boy, if I say that one more time. Those of you that know geometry or didn't flunk geometry or get kicked out of geometry or any of those scenarios know that an equilateral triangle is equal on all 3 sides. It also happens to be 60 degrees. So if you take this ruler and you put it on your OmniGrid ruler here, and you line up the horizontal line on the bottom, you will see that it lines up with the 60-degree angle on your OmniGrid rulers. I was like, well, that made sense because I really thought that I was making 60-degree triangles, and I was not. Now, there are some cool things you can do with this. So I took it, and I pieced them together. It would make a octagon. Is that right? No.
Pentagon?
No. Teresa, help me out here. 6 sides of, I don't know, a 6-sided circle with straight edges. Again, I know I'm going to get comments, and I appreciate them because, yeah, geometry didn't do that. You also can take these.
Hexagon.
A hexagon. Thank you very much.
Becky.
Thank you, Becky. You can make them into a really cool border when you make them into one long piece like that. Now, I have done work with hexagons before, and I've never had this ruler. So now I know I have this ruler. I could do them again. The rulers that we're going to use today might be in your stash. One of them is from Easy Writes. This is the Tri-Rex triangle. Now, this ruler has really been around for quite some time. I have other things that they made in this kind of series, but I did have to get this one because I didn't have one that was quite the right size. So we're going to use that one. We're also going to use the one that my sister Renee uses in the book. And I know that many of you that are quilters currently have heard of Deb Tucker. This is what Deb Tucker calls the V-block. It is an isosceles triangle. I totally understand why she wanted to call it a V-block instead, because it's easier than saying isosceles triangle. But that's what the V-block is. So I'm going to show you how to use this ruler. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you how to use the Gemini. And that's what we're going to start with. So I'm going to pull my Gemini over here. I've got my dies. Now keep in mind, I've talked to you before about this, but the Gemini can cut through 8 layers of fabric. at the same time. So let's get some stuff out of the way.
While you're getting that ready,
Yes.
Anne has a question.
Hi,
She's
Anne.
a newbie. What is the best triangle to use?
For this block, you mean what is the best ruler or cutting method to use for the isosceles triangle? I'm going to show you all three of them, Anne, and then you get to decide. All right. So I think that by the end of it, I'll give you enough information. Okay. So for the Gemini, I'm going to work with the isosceles triangle that is the 3.5 that comes in the kit. It can cut through 4 layers of fabric quite easily. Oops, I got to cut that down a little bit. This is going to fit on there, so I only want it about that wide. I should have trimmed that off better so it didn't look like I was wasting. And I really don't waste much either, but you do want to have the shortest end, and it's kind of hard to tell, the shortest end you want to keep with the straight of grain. So I'm going to put that short end on the straight of grain. Then I'm going to take a stack of 8. So I folded this so I have 8 layers of fabric there, and I'm going to put the half square or the side triangles on it. So they call it the half rectangle. The long side, and so not this diagonal side, but these 2 sides you want to have on the straight of grain. I have stacked my sandwich like it tells me to with these 2 acrylic plates, my metal on the bottom, and then my last acrylic plate on top. The blades are cutting down into the fabric. And now I just take it to my machine and it's going to start working and you're going to hear it. Oh, it's working hard. I have done this so many times. I'm always blown away by how strong this machine is. So now when I take them out, I have 8 of my side rectangles. Oop, I got 1, 2 threads that held up through 8 layers of fabric. And then this one is just 4 layers of fabric. And they cut beautifully. Now I'll show you this when we go to piece, but what I like is that these angles on the ends of them make it really easy to position it. So I'll show you that when we go to our piecing. So all right, I'm going to take the ones that I cut out with my Gemini and I'm going to set them over here. I'm going to set these out of the way. I'm going to turn off my Gemini. And now I'm going to go to cutting with the other rulers. So starting with the Deb Tucker V block. For these, I did spray size my fabric, so I took some of the Mary Ellen's Best Press spray size and I stiffened it up a little bit because especially with triangles, I really like my fabric to be a little bit stiffer. So that was using Mary Ellen's Best Press. I've got the 2 colors that I need and I followed Deb's instructions. Let's take that off very carefully. I actually put a piece of double stick tape on there so I wouldn't lose it, because I think the next time I use it, I'll want to have it again. Talk about detailed instructions. She covers everything in here, from what size you need, how to piece them, and what made Deb's ruler very cool is the trimming, and I'll show you that again too. Oh, Bina says it's upside. No, it wasn't. Okay, anyways, so going to start with her instructions here, and she tells me to look on the ruler, and on the ruler, I want to see so you guys can see it. There. Oh, perfect. All right. I need a 3.5 inch finished unit. She tells me to cut 4.5 inch strips. All right, Deb, that's what I'm going to do. So I have cut 4.5 inch strips. And to start it out, so my center block, my center large triangle is going to be this cream color. So she says to take the end so that you're not wasting fabric, and it's folded just once, fold it on a fold right here, and then I'm going to place the 3.5 inch finished line, and I know it's upside down because that's so that I can see it. Fold line for center triangles. That dotted line is the fold line for center triangles. I'm going to do exactly what she tells me to do, and then I'm going to cut. So now I have 2 center triangles, but you need more for this project. So what you do is you flip it around this way. Now I'm going to line this up at the, is that right? Is that how I do that? Size of finish? Nope, it's this one here. I've got the feeling I might be doing it wrong, so I think, nope, it's here. I need it to be, no, it's got to be that one. All right, size of finished triangles, side triangles. Okay, I'm going to go this way. The 3.5. Is that right there?
Aunt Renee's watching and she says you have it wrong.
I have it wrong. Renee, help me out here. It's, oh, I've got to flip this, I think. If I flip that, then I can use, I'm getting there, Renee, I'm getting there. I want it to be, okay, trust me, people, I did practice this. I want it to be right there, but it can't be. It's got to be on the other side. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. All right, I know what, if worse comes to worse, look at Deb's instructions. All right, first she cut off the first section. Then you flip your top one over this way. That's what Deb says. Then you use the...
She says use the diamond.
This one? Because I'm going to cut off a straight line, right? So I want it up here. Oh my goodness, you guys, there is a way to do it. It's a matter of flipping these. I do have the 2 cut. We're just going to use the 2 that we have cut. But know that when you follow Deb's instructions on the block, it's not that hard. I'm making it harder than it needs to be. Sorry about that. Maybe I'll do it again. But the instructions are all right here. I'm just looking at them upside down. All right. So then the next thing that we cut are the side triangles. So this time I'm going to use Deb's stuff, and what she said is that you first have to straighten off the edge for the side triangles. Then we're going to use the 3-inch finished, and this is the cut line for the outside triangles. You have the little bit fatter. And that's going to be, I'm going to reach over it, so excuse my reach. There we go. That cuts my side triangles. And of course you can flip it another way and do it again. So Deb's ruler takes a little bit of getting used to, but honestly her instructions are really good. You just got to trust me on that. I just played with it about 3 days ago in preparation. So I'm going to take these to the cutter, to the sewing machine to sew. All right. The last one I'm going to show you is the easy rights. Now with the easy rights, you're going to cut the strips just a 1/2 inch bigger than your finished block. So my finished block is 3.5 inches. So I needed it just to be 4 inches. So on the surface, it sounds like, well, this is going to save you a little bit of fabric. And it will. But that does mean that you don't get to trim it down to perfect at the end of it. And so you'll see that when I trim them down using Deb's little block trimmer, because this whole thing is a cutter and a trimmer at once. So I'm going to use the 2 side triangles and the center Tri-Rex triangle. I'm going to place this on. And here she shows for a 3-inch finish, you placed it on the 3.5. Common sense tells you the next 1/2 inch would be, this is the 3.5 inch finished. So I'm going to place it on this line that does not have a line on it, because I need a 3. Do I need a, no, I think I actually need a 3-inch finish, right, Renee? So let me turn that around. So we'll continue in this way and I'll show you how everything turns out, okay? There. So now I have 2 of, I turned the, switched around, so that's going to be our center. And then this is going to be our outside triangles. So I'm going to lay it on the same spot here. And this is something, hold on a second, let me square that end off first.
To your question, she said yes.
All right, thank you. Renee, who is my sister who designed this quilt, is actually watching, correcting everything I say. All right, so now I'm going to place this on the same place. So I'm going down there to the 4. I'm going to trim it. But there's one little trim. And of course you can cut more than 2 at a time. And because we're going to make 2 total ones, I'm going to do this one. And this will be easier for me to show you this. So when you're cutting this, it's pretty basic, where you just line it up on the straight, spin it around, cut the diagonal, spin it around, cut the straight. But there's one little piece right here. So when you line it up, it's important that you also cut off that itty bitty little triangle right there. Just that little guy. That is going to help you line the blocks up when we go to sew. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Lines it up. Keep in mind that I'm using a batik, so it doesn't really matter if I'm right sides or wrong sides, but you do want mirror images. So do you see how that little guy is just cut off on that little tip? All right. So these, you need mirror images because these are going to go left and right on all of the blocks. Okay, so those are the cutting tools. I am going to take them over here so that we can do a little kind of quick review at the end of them as to which ones do what. Put some double stick down on this too so that I wouldn't lose them. And then I want to take Deb's ruler over there, and I want to take a small square ruler so that we can trim things up. All right, so I have the ones cut with the Tri-Rex. I have the ones cut with Deb Tucker's, and I have the ones cut with the Gemini. And I do think the ones I cut for the Deb Tucker and the other ones might be a little big, but that's okay. I don't worry about that. Because too big is always okay. It's when you get a little small that you're going to run into troubles. Okay, ready? Hey, T, could you give me that water? All right, I'll set everything here. Thank you. Okay. So coming in to sew, I'm going to keep the rulers there. We will come back to them. I'm going to start here on my sewing machine. As always, I have a leader in the back so that my sewing will start with the leader in the back. And here is my block. So these are the ones. Oh, and my seam guide is on the side. This is the guidelines for quilting. Their website is guidelinesforquilting.com. And this is their little seam guides. They also have some really cool ruler adaptation things that you put rulers together that are pretty cool. So I've got that here for the 1/4 inch. And here is my Gemini block. Now with my Gemini block, I talked about how nice it is because they actually line up so nicely. So this little guy here, I'm going to take him and flip him over, and look at how that matches beautifully. And this matches beautifully. They're blunted ends already that really make it quite easy to just set it right into place. So I'm going to take and send that through. Now you see that this edge is a very biasy edge, which is why I have spray sized all my fabrics first, because it will go through my machine easier and I won't be worrying about stretching. Now the next one that I cut with the Deb Tucker ruler, and is bigger. Yep, I should have done the smaller size. Here's the 2 that go on either sides of these. So with this, when you're flipping it over, you're snuggling that point together. So let's keep that point right together. And when it comes down here at the end, this little edge is going to stick out. And this here is about where your 1/4 inch is. So you're going to start with it at the point. Then the last one I did with the Easy Rights, again, 2 pieces go on either side. I better keep these straight so I don't piece them all together in their wrong orders. So now this one had that little notch that we did. So watch this. On the bottom, line up that little notch right there. So this is my 1/4 inch right there where that little guy is right there. And then just lay the point down to go all the way to the top as far as he goes. So that little notch that you cut out helps you keep everything lined up. All right, so I've done the one side on each of them. Let me end with another leader piece. Grab a pair of scissors here. Cut these off and let's go to the ironing board. So Athena's gonna back it on up. So if you're getting seasick, this is when you wanna close your eyes because we're moving.
So I have a quick question before you get to that.
Yes.
Because I am not a quilter, why do you use what you call a leader?
This is the leader. We call them leaders and enders, generally speaking. And the idea is that it prevents the needle or the machine from taking, especially these pointy ends, down inside the machine. It also saves thread. Because when I'm sewing, yep, I've got this little guy on the front that's on the leader, but I'd have had to pull out the tail of thread that far to get it started anyhow. But now it's served two purposes. It's held my thread in place, kept this from going down, and then as I chain piece the other pieces together, because then I just did one right after another, I don't have any wasted fabric. So if you're really, really new to quilting, Athena, that's called chain piecing. So we like to do chain piecing, all right? So now I'm going to press it. I'm going to press it down flat first, then flip this up, and carefully, to not stretch anything, press that over. All right, so there's the one done with the Gemini. This is the one done with the easy rights. I've taken a, again, flip it up and carefully, and what I mean by carefully is don't pull this so far forward that this bias edge is going to stretch. So just be careful. Using that spray sizing on it first will help. Yep, it made blocks too big. That's all right. And then this is the one done with the Deb Tucker. All right, so they're basically all the same right now. So we've got the Deb Tucker here, the Easy Rights. Yeah, we're color switched. That's okay. And then this is the one with the Gemini. So now we're going to go piece them the other side on. So here we are back in order. Switch that out of the way. All right. So now we're going to piece on the second side for the Gemini cutout one. So here it is here. This flips over on top. And again, you have these little flat sides that you can just put the flat side right there and the flat side up at the top and go. Now we will do the Deb Tucker. So this is the Deb Tucker one, and that one has this triangle to go on it. All right, I just found a boo-boo I made. It's not going to be a big deal. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry. Okay. I thought I had 2 layers of fabric. I don't. Okay, so this guy goes here. We're going to flip him over, and again, we're going to match the point to the point right there. And then the other side just lays down on the other side. So match the point to the point. And the last one cut out with the Easy Rights not Tri-Rex, try something ruler. This one is where I'm going to match that little notch that we cut out. Remember that little notch right there? It lays flat here and then comes across here. And then the point goes to the point and continue. Then I'm going to grab that little leader, calling it now an ender.
Anna's asking about your pointy tool.
Oh, that is a Stiletto seam ripper. I'll show you that when we go to the ironing board. Okay, backing up.
And Elizabeth likes your pants.
Thanks, Elizabeth. They're my go-to-work pants that feel like pajamas. All right, so this is a stiletto. A stiletto can be anything that is a really nice sharp point that helps you grab fabric and move it where you need it to be. This one happens to be one that's kind of fancy because it tucks into a piece that's been routered and dyed, and on the other side of it is a rotary cutter. So my friend Gina, who is one of our producers also, she can make these. So she makes them out of epoxy. She hopefully is getting them done now. She had to work a little later than the rest of us. So that's what that is. So we should have some available is my point of that story. All right, so now we're going to cut these apart and see how everything turned out. So this is the one cut with the Gemini, 3.5 inches for a 3-inch finished block. Or is it a 3.5-inch finished block? Maybe that's my problem. Okay, sorry, I was mumbling there. I was thinking to myself. All right, this is the Deb Tucker block. It's a little bigger than the others, and I'll explain why. And this is the Easy Right Tri-Rex block. All right, so we're going to move our iron out of the way over here and get out our cutting tools. Okay. So let's start looking at some accuracy. So first I'm just going to use a regular ruler. So this is my OmniGrid ruler. This block is actually, because I cut the wrong size, this one, I'm going to take off those because I want you to see the accuracy of it. So this is my guide, this is my glow tape, but I'm going to take it off because I cut the wrong size with the ruler. Okay, all right, whoops, sticky tape. All right, this is supposed to finish 4 inches, and it is slightest bit big down here and a slightest bit small up there at the top. Well, what's really cool is it turned out a smidge smaller than it was supposed to be, but it can be trimmed down to whatever size I want it to be. All right, so I'm going to move that to the side. This little guy is supposed to finish right now 3.5 inches, so he will finish 3 inches. Oh, he came out pretty darn perfect. So this is the one cut with the Gemini. My point up there is a good 1/4 inch from the end of the point. I could trim just the slightest little bit off the top there, but I'm very happy with the way that one turned out. And then this one is the Deb Tucker. Now this is going to be bigger than all the rest of them because she does that on purpose. Because she has this really cool trimming technique. So with this trimming technique, these X's up here on the top are everything. Nope, I'm going to turn it this way first. There we go. This is going to, I need this one to finish. I'm going to say this one's going to finish 3.5. I'm going to cut it smaller than we actually need it to be, right? Nope, finished size. That's the cut size. So this one's going to finish, this one will finish 3.5. All right, so I want this one to finish here at this 3.5. So I'm going to line that up at 2.25. So do you see that X up here at the top? She's designed her ruler with this perfect little X in it so that you would actually line up the point of the block right there at the top. And this one, I'm going to trim it down more, I think. No, I'm going to, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to scooch this over to here so I can go to the 3.5. All right. So with that little, again, you know that you'll be able to read her instructions and follow them very well. Here it is, this little guy here, because I'm going to make this guy be a 3.5 inch. I'm going to square him up down to here. So the little triangle is right up there, and it goes all the way down here to the point at the 3.5. Ready? Cut 2 sides. Remember, I cut this one bigger than I needed because I forgot what size I needed for the quilt. Now I'm going to tuck it right into the size that I want, and again, look at her diagonals. This little this crisscross right here is right at the point of the block. So there's a 1/4 inch from the edge, and then I'm lining it up on the vertical side, the horizontal side, and look at this diamond should be going, this diagonal should be going right up to the top also. So let's scooch that up. Whoops, sorry for my hands right in front of everything. So there we go, using the Deb Tucker ruler. Now let's look at the easy right. Still not sure I did that totally right, so just so you know. Okay, so with the easy rights, I'm going to do it so that it is the 3.5. I'm going to line up, I'm going to use Deb's ruler to line that up at the top. I think this one's going to go better. Okay, I've got this one better. Just like everything, it takes a little practice. Whoops, sorry. There. Okay. So I lined that up using those that little crisscross up there at the top, which is very, very nice. Now I'm going to line it up with the crisscross at the bottom. So I'm going to have it at the 3.5 inch finished. Look at this, on the vertical, on the horizontal, and then these diagonals crisscross right there at the point. Okay, step back a second so I'm not putting my hand right in front of it. And there we go. Whoops. Okay, and then this last one that I cut with the Gemini, I could trim it up if I wanted to using this little guy on her ruler, but he really doesn't need it. He's right there. He's right there on the crisscross. The diagonals are right. He comes right to this 3.5 inch, so that I'll have a 3-inch finished Isosceles triangle. So there you have it. We've used 3 different tools. We used the Gemini. I don't have that one down here with me. We use the Easy Quilting. So this is the Tri-Rex Triangle ruler. This one probably is the most readily available. You can probably find this maybe even at a Joann's and stuff. They carry all of this line. Very nice little ruler. Gets you where you need to be. The Gemini is available. You could ask your retailer about it. I know that there's places that they can get them. I know you can also purchase the Gemini and the dies online also. And this one is the one from Deb Tucker, and I want to find something white to put it behind. Well, you can see all the writing, but it's the V block trimmer from Deb Tucker. Now this one, I think you'll probably be able to ask your quilt shops about, because this is very quilt shop oriented. So if you go into your favorite quilt shop, ask them about the Deb Tucker ruler. She's got a whole series of different rulers, doing a lot of things. She's very, very popular right now. She teaches all over the place too. So I've heard many, I have not personally had a chance to have a class with her, but I know many people that have, and they've actually absolutely loved the classes. So there you have it. 3 ways to make an isosceles triangle. But then we also learned about equilateral triangles too. So a lot of things going on. It's the V block or the isosceles triangle that is used in the Tranquil Stars pattern that is available for purchase on onpoint-tv. If you have missed any in this series, we have been doing, this is our 6th one in the techniques used in the Tranquil Stars. If you just go back 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, there are 5 other videos, starting with the half square triangles, the flying geese, I can't even remember all the ones that we've done, but we're on our 6th one right now. So these are all techniques used in the Tranquil Stars, and honestly, used in most any quilt book you find. You will find these different blocks being used. So there we have it. I hope you have a very nice day. Thank you so much for watching.